Welcome and thanks for joining us for this episode where we're going to talk about email analysis tools. So, email analysis tools. Right, I'm just making sure I break it up.
Thanks for watching.
Sometimes it's a long title of stuff. And
Yeah.
I get the words kind of grouped incorrectly. So
Yes.
these are tools we're going to use to analyze emails. Why would we want to do this?
So, I'm not sure if you're aware. Maybe you're not as well. You probably are, though. Email is one of the main attack vectors that we have to worry about as security professionals, right? Phishing emails, downloads that come through email, business email compromise. It's just endless amounts of fun when it comes to email. And the horrible, horrible things that people try to do using that as an attack vector. Spoofed emails, all this fun stuff. If you're not familiar with email spoofing, that's where I craft an email by either attacking a vulnerable mail server and sending email from it, or I stand up my own email server with a very similar, if not the same, domain so that it sends emails and it looks like it comes from Microsoft. It looks like it comes from, Twitter or wherever. So it's very important for us to understand how do we protect that vector, which is such a crucial piece of our network. We have to have email. I mean, you can't just go, well, we just won't do the email thing. Ha! Take that, attackers. They're like, yeah, you got us. Got us real good, right? That would be the wrong idea. So we still need email, but how do we do it safely? So one of the things we can take a look at through analysis is, is there an impersonation happening? Look at those email headers. Look at IPs that are going on there. There's some hard, tangible pieces that are going on. Embedded links that might be in the email itself. Maybe file attachments. You can grab those, do some hashing, throw that up into something like VirusTotal. Is there any kind of known problem that's going on there? Anything about that email that we want to pull down, the domain it comes from, the IPs that they came from, all that stuff should be analyzed and scrutinized for any malicious known factors, or known malicious factors, should I say. Put that in the right order. So that's what we mean when we say email analysis. Now, there's a couple of tools that we're going to take a look at that help us stay safe when it comes to email. But ultimately, if you're just doing some brute analysis against an email itself, those headers are going to be one of the first things you run at, and then start looking at any embedded links or downloadable material attachments that are a part of the email that you're analyzing.
Okay, so now that we know a little bit about why we might want to conduct email analysis, we also need to talk about this acronym that's new to me, SPF. So
SPF.
When, for people like
I know where you're going. Yes, we both need much
lots
SPF.
of SPF, yes. But so when it comes to email analysis, it's sender policy framework. So what do we mean by this?
So the sender policy framework is a tool for us. This is one of our first little steps into, hey, let's try to make email a little more safe, shall we? That's probably a good idea. So how do we do that? Great question. I'm just making sure my laptop is in the right spot for us all. What we do is we create a TXT file that is put into your DNS service, okay? And that text file basically is a record that tells the system these are the allowed servers that can send email on behalf of, XYZ Corp, ACI Learning, or whoever, okay? When you get an email, that SPF record should say, hey, if it came from here, then it's allowed. If it didn't, then it's not allowed by implication, right? So how do we do this? Well, the email systems typically do it for you. If you set up SPF, most of your mail services will allow you to go, hey, would you like to create an SPF record? If so, follow the bouncing ball and do your step-by-step. You can create one manually as well and attach it. Again, it's just a TXT file that's a DNS record. So we can look at TXT files and DNS records to see what an SPF record looks like. Let's do that, shall we? We shall. To the computer. Yes. Okay, computer. Let's do things. Like, remember, this is DNS stuff, so we're going to do NSLOOKUP. Fire that off, get in interactive mode. As we do, we're going to set the type to be TXT, because I need TXT files. So I'm going to set type equals TXT. Now that that is set, I can just ask for the text files for, I don't know, acilearning.com. Seems like a a legitimate place to go, right? So let's fire that in there, acilearning.com. And here we go. So in here, we can see that starting around this region, you see SPF1. V equals SPF1. So that's the version of SPF that's being used by ACI Learning when they send emails. We are employing SPF version 1. And now over here we have IP4, and this is naming all the IP servers that are allowed to send on behalf of ACI Learning. And there's the IPs that are associated with that. And this isn't any kind of like, I'm not giving anything away. This is all freely given out information. I want you to have this stuff. That way you can know if you got an email that didn't come from one of these things, then it ain't from ACI Learning. Does that make sense? That's what's going on here. And that's why we like the sender policy framework. We can use this to make sure that we are verified that where we received it from is allowed to send us emails. That is a verified place to send emails from whatever domain. SPF good?
SPF good.
Okay, SPF good.
I trust your judgment, and I trust what you say about SPF. So yeah, okay. So now that we've kind of gone through this, we have another acronym here: Domain Keys Identified Mail. So this has to do with digital signatures and verifying, making sure our emails are integritous.
That is right. It's another system for us. So if SPF says, I'm going to verify that the sender is good, DKIM comes alongside it and goes, cool, I'm going to verify that the email that you received from the verified sender hasn't been modified. And we do that using, wait for it, public and private keys, asymmetric cryptography. Cryptography?
There we go.
Say it. That's a technical term that we use in the biz.
It is. Write it down.
Yeah, write that down. No, that's just me not speaking correctly. Anyway, moving back. So what do? We say, okay, I'm going to do the digital signature thing. Maybe you've heard of this, right? Digital signatures are a great way to verify that things have not changed because everything gets encrypted up. There's a hash that's involved, right? You take a hash, you put it in the thing, you encrypt all that together. Once you decrypt it, you check the hash, you verify the two hashes are correct. If everything's great, then no change has been made and you can trust, this is safe. Other systems have been put into place to try to do similar things, but it seems that DKIM has kind of won that battle as far as what we use to verify the integrity of the emails themselves by the use of these digital signatures. So an email recipient uses a public key of the sender to validate that the digital signature is correct. If it is, then you know no changes have been made and the email is uncompromised. So that's why we like DKIM. They walk hand in hand together, and it's a nice way to add some really good security around your email systems.
Okay. That's easier than I thought it was going to be.
That's easier than you thought.
I saw keys and I got a little concerned. And we have one more acronym. Would you pronounce this DMARC?
DMARC.
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 Okay. So this stands for Domain-Based Message Authentication Reporting and Conformance.
Yeah, that's a mouthful, isn't
Conformance.
it? Yeah. I don't make these things up. I'm sorry.
He's just here to teach.
I just got to give it to you so that you can use it. No one is ever going to not just say DMARC, by the way. We should be up in arms that we are required in any way to know what it means other than, you mean that email security thing?
If you know what it does.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's more important, right?
That's what's really as long as you can apply it.
Yeah.
Who cares if you don't know the acronym? Some people do. What are you going to do? Anyway, so DMARC is a really good piece of security for us because what it does is it takes SPF and DKIM and it says, hey, are you using those things? And if so, were there any failures in those systems? And if so, what should I do? So it gives an entity, so like you or I, let's say we had an organization and we receive an email and we've got DMARC installed. We've spun up some DMARC, it's doing the thing, and it receives the email, goes, cool, does it have SPF? Check, excellent. Does it utilize DKIM? Check, excellent. Now, SPF, did the sender come from the authorized those valid senders? Yep, that's good. Excellent. And DKIM, did you check that email for integrity with that digital signature? I did. What happened? I saw a little discrepancy. Oh, hold up, time out, right? No. So, okay, we've had a problem. What do? This is DMARC does all this. It says, okay, well, we quarantine or we reject or nothing. We don't do anything about it. I just wanted to make sure they were using SPF and DKIM. I don't care whether or not they actually, were successful. Seems like a bad mode to go around, but it does happen, right? We will see that from time to time, right? Now, that's cool stuff. If you want to check out DMARC in like a more tangible way, there's a website called dmarcian.com, and they have the DMARC inspector, and you can look at DMARC stuff. So let's take a look at that. I got that right here. The DMARC record checker. Yeah, I'll accept your stuff. Goodness gracious, right? The implementation of DMARC starts with the publishing of a valid DMARC record. So there are records that are involved. Again, I believe it's just another DNS-based TXT type record to kind of give it the idea of what should I do and how should I work with this, right? The DMARCian checker is, wait for it, a tool that allows you to view the DMARC record of any given domain and test if the TXT record is valid and published correctly. Cool. Tells you more about what that is. But here's what the fun stuff is. Enter a domain. Any domains that you're feeling fancy on?
Well, I mean, we could stick with the pattern and continue to use ACI Learning.
We
could do that.
We could. I feel like you want to go somewhere else, though. You don't? ACI Learning it is.
I don't. You think I can think? The only thing that's coming to mind right now is Microsoft. So, but that's not. Okay. That's probably just as boring.
They might have something. Well, all we want to do is actually see that record. So that's all that matters. All right. So let's hit inspect the domain. It is inspecting. Cool. Hooray. Your DMARC record is valid. We do have one. Go us. Right. I'll give kudos to Don and the IT team. Yeah. Right, for doing a fantastic job.
Bravo.
Way to go. Yes. Look at like you don't have a DMARCian account. Yeah, that's fine. But we can actually come down in here and see there is the actual information to that DMARC record. So we've got V equals DMARC1. Obviously, that's going to be the version. Then we've got P equals none. That is the policy. So the policy for if something goes wrong is nothing. So even though we have a DMARC record, it doesn't really seem to do much. Right? That might be an issue. Then you've got RUA, and that is an interesting thing. And the good news is that this tool breaks this stuff down for you, right? So again, V, DMARC1, translation, this is the version, the policy applied. There are the different policies that you can use, which are none, quarantine, or reject. And it says none is used to collect feedback and gain visibility in email streams. Okay, so it's kind of probably a marketing thing where they can learn a little bit more about what's going on. It's why they don't want to reject it. Or maybe we're doing some analysis to organizations that are sending us and doing email with us. It's a very valid thing to do, but, it'd be nice to be able to go, hey, this is bad, stop. But then we have that last one, that RUA, right? This is the URI, it says URI or URL for receivers to send XML feedback to. Not a list of addresses, just requires this in this form. And if you want to learn a bunch more about this, here's the RFC. We love an RFC. This is the data sheet for the protocol of DMARC, how it works, every little piece of minutia. And you can kind of come in here and, of course, do like some searching, so we wanted to look at RUA a little more. Booyah, right there. Addresses which aggregate feedback is to be sent, comma-separated plain text, list of DMARC URIs. And it's optional. You don't have to have it. Cool. And you can continue to read down this list and learn more about that. We also have RIs. There's obviously a bunch more that you could do with this. So now you know the resources that you can go to build the DMARC just as you would like it. I'll leave that to you.
I'm glad it has everything broken down there, like as far as abbreviations and stuff go.
RFCs are nice.
It reminds me of like when you use a tool like in Linux or whatever, and you're like, use the help command.
Yes.
Because it will break it down for you and explain everything to you in detail. It's sometimes it's too much detail, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. So
that's right. Especially
when we're talking about, we talked about SPF, DKIM, DMARC, lots of different acronyms. And like you said, you don't really need to know what they stand for, or at least not memorize it. But as long
I would memorize it.
Memorize what they stand for?
Well, if you were doing something like taking an exam.
If you were taking an exam, right.
Yeah.
But for like...
That's the dumb kind of stuff they ask you to like memorize.
Okay.
What does this mean? Sometimes it does come in handy, but ultimately, like in day-to-day use, you're just going to go demarc, and everybody goes, oh yeah.
People are going to know.
I remember reading what that is one time where...
Right.
But I know what it does. That's what's important.
It's like when I hear IP, I don't say Internet Protocol in my head. It's just...
You just say IP.
Yeah, I know what it is, but I don't need to like, break it down.
The abbreviation becomes the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, the more you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got completely off track. So that's a little bit more about some email analysis tools that we might want to be aware of, just some things to know. So thank you for walking us through that, Daniel.
Happy to do it.
And thank you for joining us for this episode. We'll see you next time.